Okay, in this video we're going to be drawing a spoiler, and it does not matter if it's going to be attached to the top of your car body or to the side of your car body. We're still going to be drawing it the same way. Now, there's no template for this part, so I want you to bear with me. Watch how I'm going to do this. Upper left-hand corner, we've been using this folder option, and there is a new option here, but there's a few extra steps to create a metric drawing file. So instead, I'm going to click on these three little horizontal lines. I'm going to click once. And when I click on that, you'll see I'm back at what they refer to as home. You can see all these files that you've downloaded and been working on. But you also see this feature called Create New. This is a big deal. Watch. I'm going to click the drop down arrow, and I'm going to specify what type of drawing file I want to be using in terms of units. Very important to be drawing in millimeters and not in feet and inches or meters. So I'm going to select millimeters. And we start with something we haven't seen yet, a very large space. Now keep in mind, your spoiler is extremely small. So if we were to draw it right now, we wouldn't even be able to see it in relation to the size of this woman here. She's probably about 5'6", and you know, this thing can be extremely small. So when we draw this, you got to watch and see. I'm going to be doing a lot of zooming in to actually see what I just did. So the first thing I want you to do is click on the eraser or hit E for erase and just delete this two-dimensional object that you see here. In this case, it was this woman that's here. Now I'm going to do something that's going to be, once again, you got to bear with me, and you're going to not see anything at first, but then you're going to see something appear after the fact. I'm going to change this perspective. I'm going to come over here to where it says Views. I'm going to click once. Okay, and if you scroll down, okay, once again, we're here at the top. If I scroll down, you can see there's a lot of these different options here under Views. I want you to click on the house that looks like this. Here's an icon right here. I'm going to click on this once. Okay, you can now see that your view changed. It's as if you're looking at it from the front view. Okay, so we clicked on this house right down here. Okay, so with that house selected, watch what's going to happen. And once again, you're not going to see anything because it's so small, but we're going to zoom in. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool right here. And I'm going to come down as I typically do to the origin. I'm going to click once with my left mouse button and release the mouse button and kind of move up and over to the right, just so I can see the rectangle. Now to give you a sense of how big this space is, look down here, look at these numbers. These numbers are huge. Keep in mind a spoiler needs to have a minimum length of 20 and a minimum height of 3. I'm actually going to do just that. I'm going to make my spoiler 20 millimeters long by 3 millimeters tall. So we don't click in the box in the bottom right hand corner. I just start typing. I'm going to type in 20. That's the length, always goes in first, comma 3. We always put the height in second. Now, when I hit enter, once again, this is where kids can get confused. Watch this. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, we see nothing. So here's something I mentioned in an earlier video. To zoom in on a certain location, put your mouse over where you believe the part is. I'm going to put my mouse here. I'm just going to start rolling the wheel on my mouse. Look at that. You can see it appear. There it is. If I were to put my mouse somewhere off to the side, see how that becomes the focal point? Always keep your mouse over the area you want to focus on. So ladies and gentlemen, you can now see this is the part. And just to prove a point, I can use the dimension tool here. And I can tell you right now that this is going to be 20. Actually, it's not working. There we go. That's going to be 3, and this is 20. So that is a legal, bare minimum, that's a legal size spoiler. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those two pieces of geometry, and this one's actually pretty simple. I'm just going to use a combination of arc and the line tool. So for the sake of just keeping it simple, I'm going to draw something very quickly here. I'm going to use a 2-point arc. I'll click once, twice. Let me zoom in really close so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, that's going to say, we'll say that's the back of my part. Something really neat with SketchUp, if I want to find the midpoint, I don't have to use any type of measuring tool. If I just hover over an edge, boom, finds the midpoint. I'm just going to eyeball everything for now. And watch this. I can click here, and to follow where I am in relation to this on the opposite side, you'll see there's this little dotted line that appears. That's kind of cool. Okay? So there is a very simple looking design. Okay. Some kids might have things that are at slight angles. Sure, you can draw something that's at a slight angle. Keep in mind, this can always be brought into SketchUp, and then we can rotate it once it's actually inside the model. Okay, so keep in mind, I'm going to hit Control Z here for just a few moments. If you're really trying to get precise, a great tool to obviously use, and I've used this before, is the tape measure. You know, if you know that something needs to be drawn at a specific location, so for example, maybe you want to make sure you are starting your arc exactly 2 millimeters from this back corner. I can just move in the direction, type in 2, I get a nice little reference mark right there. I can now use, once again, my 2-point arc, or maybe I'm using the line tool, that's fine. I click once, I click twice, and then boom, there I am. Now keep in mind, this obviously can become a little problematic, but at the same time, once I start to kind of clean this up, as you can see here, I can get rid of that as well. I can get rid of that. You know, you can make do, and the fact that the part is so small, you know, some of these things are not even noticeable. Watch this as I zoom out. That looks very similar to what I drew in my last example. And once again, you could have both ends rounded. I'm just eyeballing a lot of things here, but both sides could be rounded. That's fine. But once again, dial it in, make it extremely precise. Always roll the mouse in and out to get even closer. Remember to keep the mouse on the area you want to focus on as you roll the mouse wheel in and out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is, we'll say, a completed part. Now, to save this, as we've always done, I will hit save. And it's going to prompt me because I haven't given it a name yet. So I'm going to go back to my SketchUp folder, F1 Cars, where I've been saving all my stuff. And this time I'm going to type in spoiler. Okay, so this is a different approach. There's no template for the spoiler. You're creating your own millimeter part file. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one way to draw a spoiler. Good luck.